Hello and welcome to Plot Twisters.
This is a podcast where we take movies and twist the plot to see if we can make them better. And if not, more adventurous.
At the moment, we're talking about teen movies from the 80s.
On this episode, Adventures in Babysitting from 1987.
I'm Emma and I want to stay home and be depressed.
I'm Anders and I'm too old to babysit. Hey, by the way, doesn't everybody want to stay at home and be depressed? I mean, just a little bit. Just from time to time.
It depends what kind of depression you're talking about.
The good kind that means you get to like have a cheat bar of chocolate and watch Stranger Things from start to finish again.
I think that's more like moping.
Oh yeah.
That's more like proactive moping and lounging about.
Proping?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good day, just languishing.
God,
that kind of depressed.
I never languish anymore. I can't remember the last time I languished.
How would you languish if you had the time and opportunity to do so?
I think what
would be your go-to languishing behaviors?
Well, I would wear the comfiest loungewear that I own, right? For starters, not for aesthetics, but for comfort. And I would like to think that there's a fainting couch available. Or a chaise longue. Failing that, a chaise longue,
Yeah. You don't want any kind of barrier from you becoming horizontal.
No. And then I would have, and this is making me sound like a real food monster, but, I would have all of the things in front of me as a smorgasbord, right? But with a coffee table that's wide enough to have all of my deepest desires, but also has a flip top that I can just and close it up in case any passers-by, so nobody can see all the different flavors of Doritos. And, and do you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, it tucks it away so nobody can see it.
Yes, like those sofas that have like a little sort of hatch in them.
Little something you can reach down, the lazy boy, and you reach down and there's a soda in the side of it,
Yeah, refrigerated.
Yeah, probably that.
I have a pretty good languishing tip for anyone who is considering a day of languishing. This is also nice for when you're ill.
Okay.
Well, I say nice, but it sounds really silly. But if you have like a little bin, put the bin next to the sofa that you're languishing on.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Because I always do this, because then if you are eating snacks or if you have a bit of a cold and you're blowing your nose a lot, put it straight in the bin, because there's nothing worse than mess collecting around you.
It makes you feel worse.
Collecting around you. It makes you feel worse. It makes you feel grubby and horrible.
Yeah.
So move the bin, put the bin next to you and chuck it straight away.
That's really good. That's a really good advice. Practical.
I know.
That's practical. Real world, that's a life hack. All right,
that is a life hack.
You're giving us a life hack. None of those nonsense life hacks that are like, you want a screw in a screw, use a screwdriver. Duh. No, this is like if you're languishing or feeling sick, bin next to the
wherever it is
couch.
you're reclining, have a bin near you.
Yeah, that's very good. Do you want to know my top tip? And you guys can use this all day. Okay. This is a particular thing, so you have to be a particular kind of household. So I apologies in advance if you don't fit this mold. But assuming that you have two sofas in your house, and God willing, I hope that you do. All right, and if one of them is a sofa bed, right? We do this sometimes because we have a sofa bed and a regular sofa.
You get the bed out,
and you get the bed out, and you push that up against the regular sofa, and we call it mega couch.
Yes.
Right? And then imagine you have the biggest couch that's also a bed, and it takes up the entire living room, and people would come by and be like, this isn't practical. And you go, I know. This isn't for every day. This is for when I want to lie down and lounge. And you can fit at least 5 people on there, and it's the absolute best.
Yeah, we used to have a sofa bed, and then on special days, you'd be like, get the bed out, and then just don't move from it. And we don't have one anymore, and it's very sad.
Yeah, sometimes you need this. And it's a different thing to watch TV on the couch, but that's a bed, than it is to watch TV in bed. That's a bed.
Yes. It's different somehow. Also, actually, another good languishing tip. If you know you're going to be on the sofa all day,
get
a bed sheet and put it over the sofa.
Oh, for crummies.
And then languish on that for crummies, but also it's just more refreshing on the skin than being on the sofa fabric.
Because sofas are made to be sat in, not laid in.
Yeah, and they're meant to keep you cozy and warm. Whereas if you're on a bed sheet, it's like a better,
I get that.
Airflow or whatever.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Bed sheet on the sofa. Have a bin nearby. Get a large sealed water bottle.
Oh, one of those big, like 2-liter ones.
Yeah, massive ones.
Massive.
If you have like an open basket, prepare the snacks and lay them out. I always do this.
Yeah.
I always do this. It's like you set them out nicely.
Like a snack charcuterie board.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
When you know you're gonna languish, don't just like collapse on the sofa unprepared.
No, that's a mess. You're
no
a
way
mess.
to live.
Get off the couch and go sort your stuff out, and then get back on the couch. Now, yeah, that's very good. That's is that helpful for anybody?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I mean, it all sounds very relaxing.
Yeah.
Talking of things that weren't relaxing.
Yep, you did it. You got us there. The least relaxing film of all time. This
week's film, Adventures in Babysitting, from 1987. The least relaxing film of all time.
Yep.
Let me tell you about this film. Elisabeth Shue.
Yay!
Sorry,
I like Elisabeth Shue.
Well, she has like the stock face of the 80s, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like she looks so... Ali Sheedy looks the same as Elisabeth Shue.
It's just 80s people.
And then like that girl from the Hot Pursuit, she also looks like this person.
Totally.
Like there's the same. They all look the same. Elisabeth Shue plays Chris, the babysitter. She's looking after Sarah and Brad, 2 kids who are, family friends, I think, right? She did have a date with her boyfriend, Bradley Whitford, aka Josh from The West Wing. But he said he was busy, so she takes up this offer to go and babysit. Sarah is probably 10?
Yeah, something like that.
And she's obsessed with Thor from the Marvel Comics. And then Brad is a bit older, I guess 14 maybe, and he is obsessed with Chris.
Yeah, he's 15. Is he 15? He's 15. I think he says 15. He's a freshman in high school.
Okay, 15.
But
fine.
Yeah, and he is obsessed with Chris.
Yeah, and he loves her a lot. She is a responsible, young person, drives over. Everything's going to be fine. But then she gets a call from her friend, Brenda.
A.K.A. Barb from Stranger Things.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing.
Oh my gosh, get out of my head.
Why is it Barb?
Why is Barb from Stranger Things in this movie from 1987?
Yeah. It's the same character and they look the same. So funny. And also she's called Brenda, which is kind of similar.
It's the same.
She's run away from home. She's gone to a big train station in the city. The city being
Detroit or Chicago? Chicago. It's Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I did fail to ascertain that. And she's saying, I've run away from home. Please come and get me from the city. So Chris, Brad, and Sarah all go on a journey to get Brenda. On the way, they pick up Brad's friend Daryl, who's a weird kid.
Yeah.
Who makes bad choices. They run into a gang. They get the car stolen. They are running along the street at one point. They have no money. They nearly run into their parents. It's a whole wild ride that eventually figures itself out, and they get home in time to, for the parents to come home and it's all fine.
Right.
It's a kind of... It's difficult to define in terms of genre. I think it's kind of meant to be a comedy. It's sort of funny in places. Some of the content is pretty adult. However, the version that we watched, I assume you watched the version on Disney Plus.
Thanks a lot, Disney.
Was
taking a lot of
edited
stuff
for content. some of the words being replaced with other sillier words. And it's crazy.
It's an adventure movie. It's an adventure. They got to go on this crazy adventure, right? It escalates and it escalates and it keeps twisting and turning and, you know, everything.
It escalates very quickly, I think.
Yeah, it goes from like, I guess I'll babysit you to like being held up at knife point.
Somebody's being shot at. Yeah, I'm being shot at, yeah.
Yeah.
There are children in danger at multiple points, like in life-threatening situations.
Big time. I mean, and like right at the end, the part that nobody could handle, where a 10-year-old little girl decides to climb out onto the side of a flippin' skyscraper and is dangling hundreds of feet up.
She's holding a rope, and then she lets go of the rope, and she's just stood on a ledge.
Very hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. You ever seen this one before, or is this your first time?
This was my first time experiencing Adventures in Babysitting.
First time.
What about you?
I've seen this movie so many dang times.
Of course you have. Oh my god! How do you have time? How have you had time in your life to achieve anything else?
My answer is
the amount
the 90s.
of films that you've seen many times.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Two things. One, the 90s. I had a lot of time in the 90s. And two, I used to work in a video store, man.
Oh, yeah.
We used to put this one on at the video store. The not clean version. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's a movie that I've seen a bunch of times. I didn't realize how tense it was until watching it this time around. I definitely remember it being a bit of a romp, not a like a, oh my gosh, they're actually like, this is too scary. They might die kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So do you like it?
I like it. I like this movie. I think it's fun. I think time has not changed the film as much as it has changed me, in that I can't watch a film about small children being in danger without feeling a different emotion, right? Which is like, those kids you need to get those kids out of the city. And then you get them out of there. And then the second thing was, I guess, I never really thought about it until watching it for this time, but it's a bit like, this is like one of those, you know, sort of like, it's a bit scaremongery and not very, it's not very inclusive of a film, where it's like, the suburbs are really safe and the city is where you'll get cut by a knife and killed by a gang, you know?
Yes.
And
the
I didn't
people
love that.
Who are living in the suburbs happen to be one sort of section of society, and the people living in the city happen to be a different subsection of society.
Yeah. But that's the 80s for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like it?
I liked elements of it. I would say my overarching reaction was that I thought that the threat level was very, very high. And I found that really stressful. Not only because, you remember when we talked about the Goofy movie ages ago, and we had that whole conversation about, you know, it's like it's like Jaws for some people connects a certain way, but then for shark attack victims it connects a completely different in a much stronger way, because they have experience of,
which I feel so bad for those shark attack victims. Well, they made a whole movie about it.
There's a room full of people, some people going, oh, it's about control and it's about trying to find out who you really are, and then there's all the people who are shark attack victims going, it's about that, and I can also relate with the shark thing.
Correct. Exactly.
I was a very prolific babysitter.
Oh wow!
When I was younger,
nice.
I had a really sweet deal going. Right, my parents were teachers. My parents were teachers, and when I want to say like 15, maybe, I made myself a business card that said,
"Wow,
babysitting available.
Yeah,
£3 an hour.
That's really cheap." And also, well done, very entrepreneurial of you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And I got my mum and my parents to put it in the pigeonholes of all the teachers, a lot of whom had young kids.
Yeah.
Now, what I did was I started at the flat rate of £3. And then
you build it up. Yeah.
I build it up, and I would ask, you know, they learned to trust me. I got to sit in the house and eat
Yep.
snacks and watch reruns of Friends.
Oh yeah.
And play my Game Boy.
What?
And then I would, over time, you know, they would give me more
jack up the rates. You give them the
And-
introductory, and then you do the bait and switch, and now
Yep.
they trust you and they like you. And before you know it, you're taking them out of house and home.
Absolutely. So there was a time in my life
Cutthroat.
where, like, pretty much every night of the week, like, I'd be out, and I'd
Holy
also get my
cow.
parents to, like, pick me up and stuff.
Wow.
And I'd be, you know, eating other people's food, playing with the kids. I also love kids, so, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's fun to play with kids. But then it would be like, you know, they'd be like, oh, well, Emma's really trustworthy. Like, we have to go out for the day. She can take the kids to the park, well, etc.
Dang.
And then when I was older in my 20s, I was like childminding for quite a long time as well. For a lot of the same people. So there was some kids that I saw one of them literally go from like a 10-year-old to an adult because of how long I looked after them. Yeah, it was really cool. I loved it.
That's really sweet.
So I relate to the babysitter's experience,
Right.
and I found it very,
Stressful.
very, very stressful,
Right.
because it's like worst
Right.
case scenario babysitting experience.
Yeah.
I think that another problem I had with this film was that a lot of the decisions felt pretty contrived and felt like things that were happening to make the plot move forward, and people made bad decisions to make the plot move forward, and irrational decisions.
Well, like
if
when
that
the
makes
kids
sense.
stole the Playboy, when like they could have just not.
It's just like he'd be terrified.
Sure.
He'd be terrified. He wouldn't take something like that. If it was, you could have made that happen. So, like, instead of it being on the desk in the room that they were locked in, maybe it was like the guy who'd been driving the car had it, and
Sure.
he dropped it and on the floor of the car, and he happened to pick it up then before he realized
Right.
that there was all these bad people
Right,
around. You know,
right,
it's just
right,
like,
right.
I just don't think a child would feel comfortable enough to do that. I think it makes sense that kid would take like a dirty magazine because he's been set up that way.
Yeah.
But they're locked in a room surrounded by terrifying people, and they're thinking of a way out. He wouldn't nix. I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do that.
Although, I mean, to like, I'll throw it at you this, like two things. One, talking about like edits to make it fit for Disney Plus. Did you notice that when the guy said "Give me back the Playboy," they edited the name Playboy, and it's like "Give me back the Playboy." They edited out the word Playboy, which is insane. But didn't you kind of like the whole runner where like the kid, the friend brings over a Playboy that he stole from his dad because he thinks it's somebody and it looks just like Chris. And then they're in the car, and the brother throws it out the window. Brad throws it out the window, so he needs to get the Playboy back, which is why he stole that one.
Absolutely, and that makes sense. But I think it was the wrong moment.
Yeah, totally,
I guess.
Totally.
It's similarly, there's a moment where Sarah runs away from the group at the absolute wrong moment, and that's how she eventually ends up on the roof.
Oh, right, and they all go like, "Oh, that's my dad's building. That's where she went."
Oh yeah, that was super annoying. It was like, oh, your dad has a building, great. Like your dad owns a skyscraper, great. I suddenly don't care about your problems anymore, you awful rich people. No, I mean, so like they're all in a group. This is towards the end of the film. They've been through quite a lot of trials and tribulations together. Sarah is 10 years old. She sees a toy store and goes, "Oh my gosh, look, a great toy store." Then they all go into this restaurant together, and then they realise they've lost Sarah because she's run off to this toy store.
Right,
and it was like,
right.
you need to get her away from the group. I appreciate that.
Toy Story.
However, I don't think she would do that. It doesn't feel very
Yeah.
It doesn't feel very true to her character that she would knowingly run away when she's been really sensible for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
She would know, I need to stay with the adults.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
during that scene, that's where Elisabeth is finding out that her boyfriend's been, has taken another woman to dinner. You think she would, you think she'd want to be involved in that, and she would want to see it. And then when she runs away from the toy store and the bad men are after her, she gets pretty far, and Chris and Brad and Daryl all also run after her, and they know which way to go. Like you say, they eventually realize, oh, there's the building,
right?
And there's like a million floors and stuff. It's like there's no way they would know which way she went and which floor she was on and all that kind of thing. Like, well, it's a huge city.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Didn't they know which floor to go to because there was like chocolate or blood or something on the like? Which I didn't quite get that, but like, yes, I agree. It's a bit like the series of events that led to each of the things leading, adding up, was not very. It's definitely not believable. It's definitely plot driving. The things for me, I've got some simple thoughts. First would be, this is another movie that would have been solved if people had cell phones, because like.
Oh my God, yes, 100%.
And actually, I don't even care if you don't have a cellular phone. This movie would have been solved if what's her name, Brenda. If Brenda either did one of two things, called her. Don't run away from home if you don't have any money. By the way, don't. If you're gonna run away from home, don't spend all your money on a cab taking you to a bus station. What are you gonna do at the bus station? You don't have any money, Brenda. You're not very smart. Number two, Brenda, just call your dad. Call your dad and say, I ran away, I'm sorry.
Or call some other kind of authority.
You could go find a police officer.
She calls her friend Chris and says, don't tell my parents, don't tell anyone, I want you to come and get me. And Chris is really clearly like, I can't, I have small children with me.
I can't.
You're like an 18-year-old and you're in trouble in the city.
Yeah.
What am I going to do to help?
What are we going to do?
And it's like, that felt very forced to me. And I just was a bit like, I don't.
The other thing I got a little bit of a qualm. This is a bit like we're just calling out all the things we don't like. We'll say some nice things. But like the other thing,
we have to? Can't we just be mean about it?
Let's be
pull it to shreds,
right? Let's rip it apart and leave it for dead. And then at some point we should watch the remake that came out a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I did think about doing that.
It made me feel uncomfortable. It also made me feel like everything we've talked about, no matter what, if we pick a movie, turns out there's a sequel or there's a sequel coming, or sorry, a reboot, because everything's being rebooted. There was a thing that kind of bugged me. Well, actually, the timeline and the fact that they like arrived back home at like 1:30 in the morning, and then this guy shows up because he had the roller skate with her address on it. I was like, oh, I came to kiss you. It's like, oh, neat.
He says, I needed a babysitter. And she goes, who's the babysitter for? And he goes,
it's for me.
Me?
Me.
I was like,
that's a bad pickup line.
That's a red flag.
Because I'm a big baby. And I need you
and
to
then she
sit
goes,
on me.
are you a big baby?
You a widow? In that scene when Elisabeth Shue pulls out the giant oversized baby bottle and then cradles that man and force feeds him the baby bottle. It was so weird, but it made it
that was
right.
weird. Yeah.
No, the thing that bothered me the most is this, and it's a very particular scene, and I do apologize for being so particular. But like, fair play, it's the 80s. This little girl loves Thor. She loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it doesn't even exist yet. She loves the Marvel Universe,
comic universe,
comic book universe, right? And I'm going to be honest here, people. I'm not a comic guy, although I have seen all the Marvel movies. Well, most of them. I haven't seen the most recent TV show. I didn't really like whatever. I didn't know who Thor was. And I remember watching this movie thinking they had made up a character for this show, for this movie.
No way.
And then when I watched it, I didn't even clock it, but we're watching it, I was like, she means Thor like that Thor from the Thor movies. That's so cool. She knew about Thor in the 80s. So credibility. But she meets this mechanic who rises in steam and light from the ground, carrying a sledgehammer and looking just like Thor. And she's all like, I love you, you're great. And he's the biggest jerk ever, right? And then,
but he loves Thor.
But then she goes, you can have my hat even though you suck, but you're my hero. And then finally at that point goes, oh yeah, actually you can have the car for $45 instead of $50, He was being a jerk over $5 and crushing a little girl's dream. And I didn't like that. I hated that.
No, scene. I didn't like that either. I mean, also Thor was also like an ancient Norse god, so you could have maybe.
And also Thor's
from ancient times.
He's also supposed to be a really nice guy, Thor.
I don't think he is.
Is he?
I think.
Isn't he?
I think that. Well, I think that Norse mythology Thor is meant to be like, because he's the god of thunder. He's like,
that guy.
That guy is like macho man. And I think, from what I understand, Thor from the comics is kind of like, how to describe it? A bit douchey.
But is he actually the Greek god?
Yes.
Like, that's
Norse.
the deal. Or the Norse god?
Well, yes, because he's the son of Odin, and Odin is a Norse. Or Odin, Loki, Thor are all actual Norse mythology characters.
So these Marvel comic people made
Just
up people. They made up all these different Iron Man and Captain America and all this stuff. But then they used...
Oh, no, they're all real too.
Wait a minute. Captain
America was a real...
That skinny guy who got really big in World War II and then got frozen under the water for a long time, but then
it didn't happen exactly like that, but he is based on a real guy called Captain America.
You know what? I take it back. Thanks. Hey, I'm a true believer now.
The Excelsior. The
true believers.
Yeah. They're all like the Fantastic Four, the Rubber Man. He's real.
Yeah.
The rock guy.
Oh, yeah, that rock guy with his rock face. What I'm saying is I didn't realize until now that Thor was the real Thor reference in this movie, and also that Thor, the comic guy, is also the actual Norse god. There's a lot I don't know about stuff, y'all.
You didn't know... Oh, okay.
You know? I didn't know.
I think I'm going to go ahead and say that part of Thor's... character is that he's like he's a douchey guy. Yes, he's brawny. He's a Viking god, right? So this is not that relevant to the film Adventures in Babysitting, but I would say it's somewhat in character for him to be a bit like to be played by a car guy. I think Chris Hemsworth's portrayal of Thor is very positive and flattering.
Okay.
But I may be wrong. If I'm wrong.
Add us if you're. I think you maybe have explained why this car guy was kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
Because he was Thor, and the only reference point they had was Thor from the comic books.
Yeah.
I wonder if Chris Columbus did that on purpose because he's a comic book guy. Well, I wonder if he is a comic book guy. And I also wonder what he thought about the cinematic universe of Marvel.
Yeah. He probably is like, wow, this is kind of ruining the cinema industry. Talking of Chris Columbus, who directed this film.
Nice.
He also wrote The Goonies.
Yeah, I love The Goonies.
That film that you love.
I know you.
Which, by the way, I think maybe I should maybe watch it again and see if.
All I know is this. We watched The Goonies and you said it's too low stakes, and then we watched Adventures of Babysitting and you were like, the stakes are too high. What do you want from Christopher Columbus?
Medium stakes.
Medium rare steaks, please.
Yes.
Has he ever
not
done
well done, not rare,
not bleu? Has he ever done a medium stakes movie? What are his other movies?
He did Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which I would say is a pretty good medium stakes movie.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did he do?
Yeah, but
Night at the Museum. That's an excellent medium stakes movie.
Medium stakes movie, yeah. Oh, that's
great balance of stakes.
Yeah,
I would say Jingle All the Way.
I like Jingle All the Way. I do like
Percy
Jingle
Jackson
All
and
the
the Lightning's Thief. Yeah,
never heard of it. Never seen it. Don't want to.
Oh my god. Okay, well, great news because it came out in 2010. So when we eventually get to the when we get to the teenies.
Okay.
Teenies. Oh my god, he did. He executive produced Scoob. Lol. Night at the Museum is an excellent medium stakes movie, I would say.
Yeah, you got it right there.
You got it right. And look, I'm no expert. However, I would say that one of the things I did struggle with this film is like with Adventures in Babysitting is it's like, who is it for? Because I don't think it's for kids.
Right.
It's kind of a bit, maybe a bit too childish for teens. And then it's not funny enough and cutting edge and raunchy enough for adults.
Yeah. Is it for preteens?
It's like young teens. Yeah, preteens, I guess.
It's like maybe like 14-year-old kids or 13-year-olds who like read The Babysitter's Club could then rent The Adventures in Babysitting.
Right.
You know, maybe that's what it is. But you can't make a movie for just preteens, can you?
Yes, I think that's what it is. It didn't have super universal appeal.
Yeah. But, like, what are you going to do? I mean, if you made it for adults, this movie would just be super scary and, like, pretty rough to watch.
Well, I think what we should do is we should twist it, because I have some suggestions for how we can fix it, and I was going to start saying them, but then I remembered that that's what we're here to do in this podcast, so I guess I'll just I'll zip it for now.
Pull out, zip it for now, and then in a second, unzip that twist bag, pull out your twisting needles and in your safety guards, because you don't want anyone to lose an eye, and we can twist this one right up proper. Like, what do you say? Sounds great.
I'll hop out of this window and stand on the precipice of this multi-story skyscraper building, and get ready to just leap right off into a twist, plot twist.
And I'm gonna throw a knife at your shoe.
Oh yeah, and it actually go in and hurt his foot.
I'm gonna stab
and
you
then
with
him
a
need
knife.
to go to okay. Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing.
Hey, you know what's better than being stabbed in the foot? That's right, following us on the social media pages. We are always hearing about people who are discovering our podcast for the first time, and we love that. The thing that would be really awesome is if you would share our podcast on your social medias. Share the love, share it, and don't get stabbed.
Yeah, my brain is slow running today, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't spent much time in my mind palace today, and I feel like
how much time do you spend in there on the average? What's your normal daily routine?
Like 12 to 14 hours, I guess.
Fair.
And fair. I'm at that age now where I really notice when I've had a day when I haven't spent in the mind palace.
Sure.
Because I get to the end of the day and then I try and like say a thing and all the words are in the wrong order, and it's everybody reaches that point in their life, I think.
Plus your mind palace is all untidy and you haven't made the bed and loaded the mind palace dishwasher,
whitewashed the walls.
Yep.
Stepping into the mind palace, however, just for a moment. Oh my gosh, it's horrible in here. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to pull out this script.
Big old script you got there. Huge.
This is it's funny. It's a funny visual joke, because what I actually have here is a very tiny pad of Post-its. Here's what I think needed to happen.
All right.
So, breaking it down. Boyfriend, bad Josh from the West Wing, fine. I think that worked. I think that was fun, that he didn't want to go to the restaurant with her, and then Elisabeth Shue was all like, okay, I guess I'll go babysit. Goes babysitting. Fine. I think the first issue was with the next thing that happened, which is that she gets to the house and then Brenda calls her and says, I'm in the city, I need you to come get me.
Sure.
I think we need another reason for her to leave the house first, because it goes from 0 to 60.
Yeah.
The fact that she is leaving the house with the kids is like a naughty thing.
Yeah.
The fact that she takes them in the car is even naughtier. The fact that they go out and stay past their bedtime is even naughtier. But like the absolute number 50 naughtiest thing is driving the children to the city. So how can we push that back so that she does smaller naughty things first? How about she's in the house, they have the discussion about the car, they're all hanging out in the house for a bit longer, like they're watching a movie or something.
Yeah.
They see a car in the movie looks like the boyfriend's car. What's the boy's name? Should we find his name so we can call him his real name?
The guy from the West Wing.
The Josh from the West Wing. His name is Mike. Chris sees Mike. Chris and Daryl. No, Daryl's not there yet. Chris and Brad and Sarah see in a movie a car that looks like Mike's car.
Does it have a license plate that says "so cool" on it?
well, here's the thing. They say that looks like Mike's car, except and she goes, oh no, his isn't like that. It's got a number plate. Then Daryl turns up and says, hey, I just saw your boyfriend's car driving past.
Yes.
And I know it was his because of the number plate. They all go out to look. They're out of the house, right?
Yeah, there they are. They're out of the house.
Now, maybe at this stage, she says, maybe then there's like a discussion where they're all like, you should go and follow him. And he's like, no. And there's like, go on. And then they can maybe say, well, why don't we go and get ice cream? But why don't we follow his car?
Sure. And they
come across him at an intersection, and then we're rolling.
Yeah.
Right? So they went to get ice cream, but now they're out of the house and they're following the car.
Yeah, I love that. And the kids are like egging them on, and rightly so, because, you know, Mike is going on a date with somebody else. You know, and so she wants to be a good babysitter, but also is conflicted because she wants to confront her boyfriend.
Yes.
And that is more believable, I think, in a way.
So then I'm thinking maybe either they get to the restaurant. Or hey, what about maybe Mike's going for ice cream instead?
Maybe Mike's going for ice cream. Everybody's going for ice cream.
Everybody's going for ice cream.
Yeah,
it's very hot.
It's
very
a
hot.
heat wave.
Nice cooling drink. I mean, wait, what? What is ice cream? It could be a drink.
They go to Dairy Queen. Maybe they're getting some flurries or some blizzards. They're getting some blizzards. It's ice cream.
Can I interrupt everything we were talking about real quick to just ask, what's a Dairy Queen like? I've always wondered.
Dairy Queen
is it like?
It's a great place. It's a great place.
Is it like a McDonald's, but instead of burgers, it's all ice cream?
No, the thing is about a Dairy Queen, it's yes and, okay, right? Dairy Queens are great, and traditional ones are like out on a strip, you know, on like a strip mall somewhere with a big like patio area with plastic booths, you know, tables where you can just sit, and they sell, you ready for this? Ice cream, like in scoops or in like cups. They sell blizzards, which are like fancy milkshakes, right? And regular milk, and then you can put like tons of stuff inside there, and regular milkshakes, but they also sell burgers and fries. It's everything. Hey, you want to go to Dairy Queen? Cool, what are we having? I'm going to have a burger and fries. They're going to have ice cream. This guy's going to have a blizzard. That guy over there is just going to have a Coke. We can have whatever you want at the DQ. DQ's got everything.
Can we go to America and go to a DQ? Because I think that would be fun for me.
Yes, we can.
We can go and we can have a whole day where we do like we do a Dairy Queen, we do a IHOP.
We could go to Rita's Water Ice.
In and out.
Some water ice if you want, you know.
We do a Panera Bread.
We can go to fine. It's disappointing, but like we'll do it. We'll go to.
It doesn't matter because it's I
Taco Bell. We'll go
places.
to Wendy's.
Yes.
You know,
Chipotle.
We'll go to Chipotle. Yes.
We're gonna get so sick.
We're not gonna go to We're not gonna go to Chick-fil-A though.
No, because they're bad. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. But you know, you shouldn't mix chicken and religion. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Just sell chicken. Also, I'm a vegetarian, so you know, so are we. We are, you know, maybe lay off the chicken.
Yeah.
Where were we? Oh, we were getting ice cream.
So
with
Elisabeth Shue's going to Dairy Queen.
Great.
She gets there. Maybe she calls Brenda. Okay, how about this?
Okay.
I've got it. She goes to the ice cream place without the kids. She says to Brad,
look after your
can you look after your sister? She goes to the Dairy Queen. She sees Mike with whatever her name was.
Some woman. She
calls Brenda and says, I need you to, I don't know, come here and help me confront him or whatever. There's a MacGuffin of some kind. And then See, I said it was not enough time in the Mind Palace today. This is okay. She says to the parents, "Where can I speak to Brenda?" And they go, "No, she's run away. We don't know where she is. Do you know where she is?"
Oh, yeah.
We think she might have gone to, and then maybe she remembers her saying in the past, "If I ever ran away, I would go to this bus station." And she's maybe she's there. Yeah. She calls the bus station. She rings Brenda.
Yeah.
Who says, "I'm here. You need to come get me." Then she goes back to the house. says to the kids, I've got to go get Brenda.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're coming.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point, Daryl has turned up. And then they get in the car and go. Because it eases you into it. It eases you into... This is the thing. People don't just do random bad things out the blue. You can't set them up as nice, responsible people and then they just suddenly snap and do something crazy.
Sure.
You have to
You gotta build it. You gotta build it. You gotta build it.
Little steps.
So let me tell you something I want to keep in this movie. And, I did not dislike the whole, like, the kids have accidentally ended up with something. They don't understand what it is, but it's really important to some bad guys, and the bad guys are chasing the kids because they're trying to get the thing back. It doesn't have to be a stolen Playborg or whatever, but like, I just Playborg, right? Don't fool with these kids. Don't fool with the babysitter, right? But I do want them to have. They put the word fool in instead of the F word. It was really terrible. Did you catch that scene?
And witch.
Yeah, come on, witch.
Did you just call her a witch?
Don't fool with us. Hey. Don't fool with the babysitter.
And then I think one of them says, shoot. Shoot.
Also, hey, gang war, you're going to let the kids get out of the way. They're having a gang fight. They're having a big old rumble in a car, and the kids are just there in an underground car.
But
like,
in a very like West Side Story kind of way.
Yeah. When you're a jet, you're the something cigarette, right? We're gonna kill you right now. We don't care if the babysitter and some kids are right here, right now.
Oh my God, you know what else we're totally keeping in?
What?
The scene with the Blues Club.
Oh my gosh. Great, right?
How good was that?
And actually, when they're singing along, which is totally ridiculous, by the way, nobody leaves, and you got everybody singing
the blues.
When they sing this song, and the guy, they're like, and then Brenda's probably dead, and then the second line of the guy's like, they're going to the city, and the girl probably dead. That's very funny. It was very good. I very much enjoyed the babysitter blues. There's nothing wrong with that. She's got the babysitter blues. That's great. So we're keeping that in. And the mob. How do the mob people get involved? Or not mob, like the bad car guys.
I think they maybe should I think they should be more pathetic villains.
Like the Wet Bandits.
They should be more bumbly, like the Wet Bandits. Yes, absolutely. The Home Alone villains are perfect because they're so silly and funny and they get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, if you're going to have children versus adults, it's iffy.
Yeah.
So a good way to do that is to make the adults also kind of children because they're just...
Perfect. That makes total sense to me. Not give them actual real life, like... sophisticated mob people who will murder you.
It's just like two silly guys who are trying to run a car stealing business, but they're a bit rubbish and they leave stuff lying around and they're trying to find, and they're like, oh, you dumb kids, get back here,
and then the other guy slaps the other guy in the back of the head. Come on, we got a car to steal. But the little girl, she hit me with a Thor hammer, boss.
He hit me on my thumb and it really hurt.
She's not really Thor, numbskull. She's a kid.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a bit of a tone problem. It's a bit of a tone problem. Like, why not, when the gangs turn up, have it so that maybe Chris has been... We could maybe slightly turn up the as much as I hate to say it, we could slightly dial up the neurotic dial on Chris.
Yes.
And she could be a bit more like... She seemed like a sensible girl, but she didn't seem anywhere near worried enough. I was thinking about if it was me and I was babysitting, I'd be like, oh my god, oh no, this is going to go wrong. Yeah. Why not make it so that she's a bit more nervous and terrified and the kids are the one who are reassuring her? Because that's funny.
Sure. That's good.
But then, so when the gangs turn up, what if she'd been saying, oh my god, we can't go to the city because you guys are going to get stabbed by someone in the gang. And they're like, no, it'll be fine.
Right.
And then the gang does show up and she's like, see, I told you. But they are like the gangs in a musical and they're all really over the top and it's really ridiculous. And then you get a line from Sarah where she's like, wait a minute, you guys are just idiots. You just like dancing. You don't really, it's like, and it's a joke.
Yeah, I like that. Versus it being weirdly toned and kind of serious actual gang fight
Yes.
with knives.
Yeah, and it's like you could replace the 3 children with grown-ups and it would still be pretty scary.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's got to be like a kid's idea of what a wild night in the city would be like.
Sure.
And I think the bit where they go to the blues club,
that makes sense.
Is that a child could imagine I would run onto the stage at a blues club and be told to sing a song. But yeah, and also the bit with Thor, that's also something that a kid would maybe imagine. But the rest of it, not so much.
What I'm realizing is this movie's actually pretty similar to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah,
like if you think about it, right?
Is,
like an adventure in the city,
caper.
right? And then at the end, they got to race back to beat the parents home to fool them into thinking that they were at home the whole day.
Yep. But again, Ferris Bueller it has that. It's unbelievable, but the tone is right.
Right.
Which is that it's gentle and silly, and you are able to indulge in the fantasy of it.
Yeah, and in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it was like they had this whole thing of like, we're going to go and have an amazing day, and we have all these things we want to do. I wonder if maybe in this movie, like the kids are sort of egging on the whole thing. Like maybe there's a bunch of things that they wanted to do in the city, and they're sort of egging the babysitter on to confront her boyfriend. But actually, what they want to do is go to the candy store and go to the music place and go to the toy store and stuff. And she sort of gets slightly duped into it, but not in like a goofy way, but in an understandable, but because she's a little bit, caught up in the boyfriend thing, she gets sort of coerced into taking these kids to all these different places.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a more relatable decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then
rather than I'm gonna go and pick up my crazy screaming friend from a very dangerous place because she told me not to call my parents.
Right. Just call your dad, Brenda. Call your dad. Everyone, just call your dad right now. Everybody, call your dad. Call him and say, "Pick me up at the bus station, please."
Help.
He'll know what you mean.
I cannot imagine that an 18-year-old, no, 17, she's 17, 17, 18-year-old would willingly put a 10-year-old child in that much danger because her friend said, please, I don't want to call my parents.
So what you're saying is, what could have happened is Brenda call. What's the babysitter called again? I can't remember her name.
Chris.
Brenda calls Chris and says, I'm at the bus station. Can you come and pick me up? And Brenda says, okay, fine, I'll pick you up. She then hangs up, calls Brenda's dad says, Brenda's at the bus station. Can you go pick her up? I would, but I'm babysitting. And then the next 2 hours
and it's also not my job. She's your daughter. You look after her.
Sort it out, Brenda's dad. And then you just see them playing a couple of games, having supper, watching a movie, and then going to bed. And the whole movie... What if the movie was like sliding doors and it was 2 different options? One where Brenda calls her dad and one where the actual stuff happens. And it's the same movie happening on the right, the original Adventures in Babysitting. But on the left is what would have happened if she hadn't gone to the city. And it's basically just babysitting stuff. And then she watches TV for a while. But then she ends up with her boyfriend.
Yeah. And never discovers that he's a cheat.
And then at the end, there's just a screen that says, "What would you do?" And then the lights in the movie theater go up.
The second one.
Yeah,
I would do this.
Well, I would do the second one as well.
Let's do the second one.
But then in the movie theater, you have to discuss it with the person next to you. It's like
is it
rule.
Who I came with, or is it just literally like your
it's the
seats
person
are numbered?
it's the person to the left. So.
See, I never get this when they say turn to the person on your left and speak to them because everyone's just pointing the same way.
Oh, no. Right. You're right. Turn to the person. Oh, how do they do it? If everyone's in a movie theater, what they have to do is they have to say.
If you're sitting on an odd number, look right. And if you're sitting on an even number, look left.
Look, exactly.
That's the person. That's your discussion partner for the evening.
Everybody pick up your phone and randomly dial the 15th contact in your phone, and that's the person you need to discuss.
Ooh.
Which
Opening
one?
my contacts right now. Number 15,
Number
you said.
15.
The 15th person in my contact is our friend Zoe. Shout out, Zoe.
Hey-yo. Amazing. The 15th person in my contact is someone I have not spoken to since probably 9th grade.
I'm definitely having a better post-movie discussion.
Movies need to tell us what to do with the discussion points after more often than they do. You know, they just roll credits and let you leave. And if it's a Marvel movie, you stand there for a while knowing, ooh, I might get some cryptic thing in a diner somewhere with that guy.
Yeah, they should pause the movie every 20 minutes with some kind of question. Like, what do you think is going to happen next?
And if we ran the
Take
world,
5 minutes to talk.
this is what would happen.
Yes. Us being the people who did get shushed in the cinema once for talking too much during the movie.
Look, all right, that happened one time. And
time.
We were just really excited because we were watching the new Scream movie, okay?
So bad.
The guy who shushed us wasn't even alive when Scream came out, okay?
Yeah.
It's not fair. I was around in the 90s. I can whisper a couple things to my friend while we're watching a reboot saying, oh my God, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Oh no, she just got stabbed.
Oh my God, look, it's that guy. What's his name? Who is it? You know the guy from, what was he in? That guy.
We are dear. Don't see a movie with us.
No, don't come see a movie with us.
I annoy us.
So, change the tone. Make it sillier. Make it more like a kid's fantasy of what would happen if the babysitter took them on a trip to the city.
Yeah.
Escalate it more slowly. Make the reasons more believable. Have a dance off. Done.
And you know what you got there? That's a go
Cut
picture.
print.
That's a go picture right there. And actually, look, if I have the time, maybe I will watch the reboot of this movie. Will you?
Why not?
Like, let's see if it's any better.
Do that thing where you can, you watch a movie at the same time, and then one of you keeps pausing it to annoy the other person.
Yeah. No, we should watch Adventures in Babysitting from 2017.
Yeah.
If we can stand it and see if it's any better.
Well, I would love to know on a scale of 1 to 5, mac and cheese that's been slopped all over the floor.
Oh, stress me out.
I knew it would. This is the problem, is now I think about this stuff because I know how much it would annoy you. So I'm watching the film going, oh, Anders is going to hate that.
It's just so sloppy. Just clean it up.
Yeah,
just clean it up. Just clean it up.
And then she does a really bad job of cleaning up at the
super
end. She
bad
just
job.
puts it in the.
Ugh.
How
much? Yeah.
How much floor mac and cheese would you rate the movie Adventures in Babysitting?
As flawed as it is, and it's a bit too intense, I still have really fond memories of this movie from when I was a kid. And I'm gonna be real with you. I probably would still watch it again. So I'm gonna give it 3 bowls of floor mac and cheese. What about you?
2, I think. I like. I feel like this is one of the ones that you're going to hold against me.
Not at all. Not at all.
But
not at all.
it
Goonies,
just,
yes. This, no.
Okay. I liked a lot of elements of it. I liked some of the toppings, but I didn't like the bowl of ice cream.
Yeah, I get it. And
I liked the
you're a toppings
crunchy
person.
pistachios. I like the fudge sauce. I like the flake.
Like raspberry dust.
But I didn't like the raspberry ripple.
Yeah.
Oh, raspberry dust.
Yeah.
When they put Pop Rocks in it, that's my favorite.
Ooh, yeah. Although it's a bit challenging on the palate, I think, to go from sweet and creamy to literal Pop Rocks.
I like a mixed taste mouthfeel experience.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I'm more of a lots of little nibbly things than an entree. You know what I love? I love ordering 3 starters instead of an entree. You know what I mean?
So do I.
People look at you like, are you insane? And you go, not really, because those are 3 different things that sound great.
Can I tell you a short horror story?
Yeah.
I went out for a meal recently. They didn't really have any vegetarian options, was the first problem. But I probably would have done this anyway. Everyone else ordered a main, and I ordered 2 starters.
Right.
They brought me the 2 starters.
I knew it. Way too early.
before everyone else got their main.
So did you?
So I was sitting,
run out of the restaurant and run down the street screaming.
I was sitting there with not only with a starter that nobody else had, but two, and they waited for me to finish, and then brought out all the mains, and then realized that I didn't also have a main. And I was like, no, I didn't just order 2 starters for myself when no one else had ordered any starters.
Yeah, that's either bad communication at the table or bad communication from the group or from the waiting staff. That's a red flag right there. They should have known.
It was mildly upset, traumatizing.
Did you pull out a book while everyone was eating their mains and be like, well, enjoy your mains, everybody. I'm just going to read 2 chapters of Jane Eyre or something, you know?
No, I think I started like going on some kind of lecture about movies because one of the people in the group said, they were like, I was like, hi, it was a new person. I was like, hi, nice to meet you. They're like, nice to meet you. And I was like, then somebody said something about TV and she goes, oh, I don't have a TV. I don't really watch TV. And then I went really loudly, oh, well, we're not going to have very much to talk about. And then there was just silence. And I meant that as a joke. Like I wasn't being passive aggressive. It's cool. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have a TV. I'm making fun of myself because all I talk about is TV and movies and things that involve owning a screen. So I'm sorry. And then everybody started talking about TV against my will.
Oh, no.
And then she sat there in silence for a really long time.
No.
And I felt really
so
bad.
She said, I don't have a TV. And you said, we're not going to be very good friends.
And then I basically
talked about TV.
I unintentionally silenced her from a conversation. And I felt really bad about it. And I said, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I was making fun of myself.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry.
Did she slit your tires afterwards and blackmail you?
I mean, we haven't spoken since.
And you never will again.
Yeah. I mean, at least I didn't say, gosh, don't you hate it when people are all like, oh, I don't have a TV?
Yeah, you stand up and you go, hey, guys, before we have dinner, let me just say, you know those people, those jerk asses who don't have TVs? If I ever meet someone like that, I'm gonna actually stab them with my fork. You're new. What's your name and what's your deal? How big is your TV? Guys, before we have our main meals, can everyone just go around and say our names, our favorite TV shows, and the size of our TVs?
Whilst I sit here and eat my 2 starters while you're all watching me in silence, let me tell you about how I don't have anything to talk about with you, so you should probably just be quiet.
Yeah, we have nothing in common.
Because I love talking about TV and movies.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to eat these potato skins while you all judge me.
It's the worst night of my life.
Anyway. Jinx.
Now that we've spent a lovely evening talking about TV and movies, and anyone who didn't want to talk about that can just, leave already. Thank you for listening to this episode of Plot Twisters.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you have the time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. She's not really Thor, numbskull. She's a kid.